Nneka uses men for money. In the heart of a bustling African city, there lived a woman named Nneka. Her beauty was as captivating as the moon's reflection on a calm river, and her eyes held secrets that whispers of both desire and desperation. But beneath her enchanting appearance lay a darkness, a hunger that gnawed at her soul. Nneka was born into poverty, her parents toiling in the sun-drenched field to manage a meager existence. They lived a life that equaled nothing, living from hand to mouth. They could not boast of anything outside of the food they managed to put on the table. Their house was a ramshackle. They barely wore fine clothes, let alone owning any valuables. She grew up watching the wealthy flaunt their riches, their lifestyles, a stark contrast to her own. The inequality was painful to the bone marrow. Just across your fence lines, people living the life while you pray for solutions over things that money could solve within snaps. Well, she had to endure that painful reality. But while enduring, Nneka was devising a means to get out of misfortune. Even though the gap between the haves and the have-nots widened with each passing day, and Nneka was resolved to bridge it, come what may. Her path crossed with a mysterious man named Olu, whose eyes held ancient knowledge and a promise of power. Olu was a practitioner of forbidden arts, the kind whispered about in the hushed tones around village fires during folk storytelling times. He promised Nneka wealth beyond her wildest imaginations. As it is with things of that sort, he told her she was going to pay a price. It was a price heavy enough to make many people lose or lose interest. He told her she was going to pay the price with the lives of the men who loved her. This baffled and irritated her. She was startled and hesitant over this impossible condition. Torn between her desire for a better life and the morality instilled in her by her parents, she was not raised to be that kind of woman. She told herself quietly, Nneka, come off it, you are not that beastly. The opposite forces pulling the strings against her, giving her reasons why she needed to go on and rid herself of the wretched life she was living. The allure of gold and silk won over her conscience. She lured unsuspecting suitors, men who fell for her charms, and led them to Olu's hidden shrine deep in the forest. She would convince them to go on those dangerous journeys with her, telling them she loves nature and likes exploring it in its raw, wide forms. In the name of love, these unsuspecting men will go with her into the deepest parts of the forest and not come back. They will be declared missing. Hours will pass into days, days into weeks, weeks into months, and months into years. This went on undetected and smooth for Nneka and her diabolical greedy pursuit. Each ritual was the same. Nneka would dance under the moonlight while Olu chanted incantations, the men's life forcibly drained away, leaving behind only their hollow bodies. Nneka collected their blood in the clay pot, which later turns into money. As the days turned into weeks, Nneka's once vibrant eyes dulled. She became a shell of herself, chased by the invisible faces of the men she had betrayed. Their voices echoed in her dreams, accusing her of treachery. She would have terrible nightmares, pushing her to wake up from her sleep, gasping for air to catch her breath. One thing was for sure for Nneka: the money flowed, golden coins spilling from the pot like a river of promises. She had so much coins, she devised a means to smith the coins to gold bars for easier storage and noise reduction. She became a gold merchant, running gold deals with businessmen and women from far and near. Nneka's newfound wealth transformed her life. She moved into a grand mansion, adorned herself in silks and jewels, and reveled in the envy of others. Yet her heart remained heavy. She had become a puppet, dancing to Olu's tune, her soul tethered to the blood-stained pot. As if that should have been enough, her sudden rise to wealth, not just wealth, but stupendous wealth, invoked a lot of debate. Tongues wagged about how she sought the money. Even if she had become a prominent businesswoman in high society, people around were curious about how she became rich, but they did not investigate. They decided to mind their business. They did not care to investigate her when she was poor, so why now when she's rich? Jokes went around about how sources of poverty are never questioned. Also, some concluded that the head wearing the crown does not lie in the bed easily. She would face her repercussions if she dipped her hands in something fishy. Somehow, someday. The day of reckoning always comes, and like they say, karma never forgets an address. One fateful night, as Nneka counted her riches, a stranger appeared to her doorstep. His eyes held a fire, a determination that reminded her of the girl she once was. His name was Chidi, a poet with ink-stained fingers and a heart full of dreams. Chidi would rather use ink to scribble his poetry, even if there were ballpoint pens in use. This made him quite a strange man, a poet who always had ink-stained fingers. Chidi's love was pure, untainted by greed. He saw beyond Nneka's outward presentation. Seeing the darkness that consumed her, he vowed to rescue her, to break the chains that bound her to Olu. Nneka hesitated, torn between her loyalty to the pot and the warmth of Chidi's touch. Well, Chidi was not going to be a victim of this madness, she thought to herself. She felt a difference from the encounter she got from him. He was going to live with her. She could risk it all for him. Together, they ventured into the forest, guided by ancient maps and whispered legends. Olu's shrine loomed ahead, a place of shadow and forgotten prayers. As Nneka faced her past, Chidi held her hands, his love a beacon in the darkness. The final ritual unfolded, the dance, the incantations, the draining of life. But this time, Nneka resisted. She shattered the clay pot, releasing the trapped souls. Olu's rage erupted, but Chidi stood by Nneka, shielding her from Olu. They say the poet never dies. Chidi was not even an ordinary poet. He stood between Nneka and Olu. It was intense, but with the pot being shattered, Olu's power over Nneka became important. In that moment, Nneka chose love over wealth. She watched Olu crumble, his power dissipating like smoke. The forest sighed, a thousand lost souls finding peace. And so Nneka returned to the city, her pockets empty but her heart full. She rebuilt her life with the poet, as Chidi was fondly known. This time Nneka built her life with love as her currency. The faces of the men she had sacrificed never left her memory, but they served as a reminder that redemption was possible even for a woman who had once danced with darkness. And so Nneka became different kind of sorcerers, one who wove stories instead of spells, healing hearts instead of draining life. And in the quiet of her nights, Nneka whispered to the moon, asking forgiveness for the life she had taken. Perhaps, just perhaps, the moon listened, casting its silver glow upon her as if to say, redemption is a journey, my child. Keep dancing. Moral of the story is, there are no shortcuts to making money. Worst part to even think up is using humans for monetary rituals. Also, remember, it pays better to be quiet and poor than to be famous and restless. Many have taken their life or their life taken from them in a bid to make money by all means. It is not worth it. Please. Thanks for watching our story. Kindly subscribe our channel, share our stories with your family and friends, and turn on notifications for more stories to come.